everybody, Edo here, and I am about to review a game from Blue Orange. But before I do, I just want to let everyone know that recently Blue Orange asked me to do an overview of 3 games for virtual booths and cons for them. I've known them for a long time. They're local to the Bay Area. And for it, they didn't want it in my normal zone. They wanted to have a Blue Orange banner behind me and have tons of Blue Orange games, and there'll be a picture of it. And so they sent me all these games, none of which I had played, or almost none of which I had played. And I was like, can I review these? And they were like, sure, which is great. So, the review you're about to see was not paid for, though I was paid for something else from Blue Orange, and it included a mountain of games, which I'm now reviewing. So, let me jump in. And here we have Detective Club. Now, Detective Club is a really straightforward game. It has a Dixit feel, though it plays a little differently. It's filled with a gigantic deck, let me make sure these are all right side up or close to it, of just incredible, odd, fantastic, weird, interesting cards. And so basically, it's a straightforward game. There's going to be a clue giver who, so everyone's dealt 6 evidence cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 amazing components. These are super thick magnifying glasses and the tokens and the notepads, everything works. I have got a set of 6 cards, and looking at these wild cards, I am going to think of a word that I feel like represents, comes out in these cards. So maybe if I had these cards, I have a set, but I'm going to be picking 2. I might choose animal, or because there's a cat on one and a giraffe on another, I might choose, I might try to think of like odd or food. Like maybe if I went for food, I might have this one and this one. So you get to sort of pick any word you want and come up with your plan. So I have my plan. I'm going to do animal. Okay, so I think about it on my own, put my cards down, and so I'm the clue giver. I take these notepads, and at the top of the pad, and you get 1 per players playing. I'm going to write down the word. I'm going to write down at the top of this, I'm going to write down animal. I'm going to write it down on all the pads except 1. One I'm going to just put a line through. Take the pads for the number of players, and so it's 4 to 8, so it's a really big player count. Take the pads, shuffle them up with the journals, and deal them out. So, what does that mean? That means I'm playing with, let's say I'm playing with 3 other people. 2 of the people know the word. 1 person has no idea. And so I play this card, and I say, it's my first clue. And essentially, everyone's like, oh, he had animal. That's animals. The other person's like, I don't know. Light bulb. Smart. We go around the table, and everyone plays a card that they believe also is indicative of the word. Now, for the players who know the word, that's pretty straightforward. They look at their cards, and this one has an animal in it. This one doesn't. There's an animal on the ground running around, all that fun stuff. And they play it in front of them, and we go around. And then I, as a player, everyone's been playing cards in front of them. And so it gets to the person who doesn't have any clue, and they look at my card, they look at another card, they're like, maybe animals, maybe this. They're going to play a card. The next one, we go around, we do a second one. I do my second card. So now everybody has 2 cards in front of them, right? Two of the other players should have cards that look pretty good, and maybe the other player has something that happens. But basically, this game does work better with more players. I just think because there's more options. We then get to this sort of conspiracy phase or negotiation phase or whatever, where I'm going to say, I picked these 2 cards because the word was animal. And everyone's like, I knew that, I knew that. Oh! Then everyone takes a turn describing why they selected their cards, including like, I knew the word was animal because it was written, and this is why I chose these. But everyone's going to say that. And so in some regards, you go through this fun phase of picking the cards, and then really the person who didn't know the answer is just trying to fake their way into everyone else thinking they're right. And it becomes that sort of like, don't believe Joe. That doesn't make any sense. Well, how, really? And it becomes that dialogue. It works. It's fun. I do think it works better for some people. Like, this kind of space wasn't particularly interesting for my wife. She didn't really like get like that kind of like arguing and debating and making your case. Just like not fun for her. So I really think that sort of there's this deduction piece, but then there's also this arguing, debating, sort of trying to like get people to vote somebody out, social game thing, which she didn't like. And so it's got a weird vibe in that regard because, like, on one hand it has a Dixit feel, but in Dixit you have sort of a gamey thing where you're not really like trying to convince people otherwise. But this is a social party game, and if you don't like playing, you know, like Two Rooms and a Boom or what's the name of that game? Secret Hitler or anything where you're like calling people out and calling people liars and saying, no, it's not that, or you're the one. This isn't a game for you. Like, there's no way around it, in my opinion. So I think if you like social deduction, you like Dixit, you don't mind that, you know, that sort of, like, your family digs werewolf, like, that whole thing is cool. Like, no one's really gets upset about that. It can work. But components are fantastic, and for what it does it well. And you could just sit and, like, just look at every one of these pieces of art. I cannot believe how much art is in this game. It's ridiculous. So anyway, this is Detective Club. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks. Bye.